This is your guide on how to become a straight A student. Introduction. This is not the typical study guide you're used to finding, because this time, real straight A students are the ones presenting their ideas and advices, not professors. I gathered all the answers from my conducted interviews with these students only to help you become more efficient, less of a procrastinator, and a master of exam taking. I got a hold of students who improved their grades by using smarter ways of study, not the ones who stay late at night and study more and more and more. Not all advices you will read about in this book will be a perfect fit, and that's okay. Because each student has a unique way of being efficient, it's just a matter of experimenting and finding which strategy suits you best. Always remember that college is many things. It's not just about grades, but grades are an important factor. I wrote this book in order to guide you so you can make your years in college rich with knowledge and fun. Part 1. Study Basics. Step 1. Manage your time in 5 minutes a day. The most common complaint I hear from all students is that they never seem to have enough time for all the materials they need to study. One straight A student from Brown named Matthew explained how it's easy for a college student to become stuck in a state of permanent catch-up. Students at one point start feeling that they reached their academic limit and there is no way there are enough hours in the day to finish all work. But let's clear one thing up. This belief is not true, because it appears that the problem is not in the number of hours, but how each hour is spent. Which is why the very first step in this guidebook is how to manage your time in 5 minutes a day. There is a common misunderstanding of the purpose of time management, which makes most students, even straight A students, hate it. They believe that time management is made so we can do as much work as possible in one day. But the main motivation behind having control over your schedule is reducing your daily stress levels. What you need are two simple things: a calendar and a list. The basic idea is to write down all of your to-dos and deadlines on your calendar. The calendar should become the one place you write everything you need to do in. The trick in our system, though, is that you only need to deal with your calendar once every 24 hours. You give it a glance every morning, see what you have to do on this day, and then anything that comes throughout the day as an addition, you write it down on your list. Then the next morning, you can put them on the calendar, and the cycle goes on. Always try to label each of your to-dos with a specific timing each day. This is not to keep a strict schedule, but this is to figure out how much you do in one day. And don't be hard on yourself. Put time for breaks, long ones. The point of this is that only 5 minutes and a piece of paper every morning can make your day less stressful. Sure, you will not always keep it up to date, but you will learn how to, because one lesson you should always remember from this book is that a little organization lets you do great things in the long term. Step 2. Declare war on procrastination. When I started conducting interviews for this book, I put a huge part of my focus into procrastination. I assumed that surely enough, if this student is an A student, then he defeated procrastination. But surprisingly, each student who I asked, "How do you stop procrastination?" replied with an "I don't" or "I didn't." I didn't expect these kind of responses, and it honestly made no sense. But then one student told me this: "I don't think you can defeat procrastination. You just have to try to limit it." Over time, and after a lot of extended answers to my question, I started to put the puzzle pieces together. What they really meant with their answers is that they can never defeat the urge to procrastinate, because no matter what, there is always work that is unavoidable and sucky. The goal of this step is not to give you ways to never feel like procrastinating again. Instead, it teaches you how to not give in to that urge. I put a battle plan to defeat procrastination, and it goes like this. Number 1, keep a work progress journal in which you record whether you completed all your tasks or you gave in to the excuses that convinced you that you don't need to complete the tasks. In a way, this will be a powerful way to blow your ego. It will not allow you to escape reality because truth is, you're just being lazy. Your ego won't like that. Number 2, feed the machine. If you're low on energy, then you're vulnerable to procrastination. This is why you need to think of your brain as a machine, which you must properly motivate and take care of. How? Simply drink water constantly. Take notice of your caffeine intake. Understand that food is a source of energy, not satisfaction. And lastly, do not skip meals. Number 3, make an event out of the worst tasks. How to turn a horrible task into an extraordinary one? Find another location, whether a bookstore, cafe, coffee shop, or a restaurant, and set the time to go there. And don't forget to tell a lot of people about it. That way you won't cancel. Number 4, build a routine. Surely your schedule changes every day, but try to make at least 1 hour of each day a constant, where, for example, you take it as a break. The goal of a routine is turning work into a habit, so you don't have to convince yourself every time that you must do it. And lastly, number 5, choose your hard days. On hard days, which are inevitable at college, you must put the relaxation and socializing you usually do aside. If you can see a pile of deadlines before it becomes a pile, plan for them in advance. By giving them time before it's too late, it will ease how hard they are or the long, stressful night you have to stay up during. In other words, you will lessen their negative effect. Step 3. Choose when, where, and how long. When it comes to studying, the little things definitely matter. These might be basic questions, but are surely of a priority. When is the best time to study? Early. Most students I encountered told me the earlier the better. That's when your energy is at its peak. Never at night, because this will disrupt your sleeping schedule, therefore your productivity. Where should you study? Somewhere isolated, where no one can interrupt your focus. How long should you study? No more than 1 hour without a break. A break can be only 5 to 10 minutes, but it should give you time to take off your mind completely from what you are working on. The answer to these questions, should make you more productive and organized. Part 2. Quizzes and exams. Step 1. Take smart notes. Here is the truth about college students. They are terrible at studying. When they first start college, they are on their own. They don't have someone to guide them to the right way to study. They just find out on their own. A very important fact about studying is that there are so many varying ways to do it. It's more like a skill. It can be done well or done poorly. And that's what makes straight A students different. They mastered their studying strategies really well. In part 2, most information and advice will work for both quizzes and exams. So firstly, let's define quizzes and exams in a very simple way. If the test is worth less than 15% of your final grade, it's called a quiz. Anything more, then it's an exam. If it's worth only 5% or less, then we can call it a tiny quiz. You don't need to spend so much time on tiny quizzes because if you're normally attending all your classes and are up to date with your professors, you should get an above average score easily. So how do you score an above average grade easily? First things first, always attend your classes. If you skip a class, as Lydia, a straight A student from Dartmouth, explained, it'll take twice as long studying to make up for the material you missed. And of course, not only just attending, but also taking good notes. This reduces your study and stress time. Step 2. Demote your assignments. Secondly, do not spend too much time reading assignments and problem sets because that will only make you feel overwhelmed by the work they hold. So how do we reduce the exhaustion of day-to-day assignments? We stop depending on the day before assignment planning. Almost all students don't finish their work until the day before the deadline, and that only creates more problems. Smart students, however, avoid these problems by constantly working on assignments every day, whenever there is an opportunity to do so. This way, you free up your time for big projects or upcoming tests. Step 3. Marshal your resources. Smart students have cracked the code. If you're studying hard, then you're doing something wrong. If you have been taking smart notes and handling your assignments effectively, studying will not be a big deal. That makes the preparation for any looming quiz or exam easier. You only need to do 2 things. 1. Organize your material in a smart way. 2. Perform a targeted review of this material. Start with building a study guide. Once you have figured out which resources are needed to be studied for the exam, gather the notes you have been taking and fasten them together with a paperclip. Prepare memorization aids too. This is for the courses that need some memorization of formulas or dates or chronologies. But in order for all of these steps to work efficiently, you cannot organize and study in the same day, or your brain will be already too tired to think. Step 4. Conquer the material. After weeks of taking smart notes and extracting insights from your assignments, it's time we get down to business. It's time to study. This step is most commonly identified with exam preparation and which most students spend most of their time doing it misguidedly. But you will no longer be one of those students because the techniques we will provide you with are quick and highly effective. You just have to use them with confidence. Whatever the subject is that you're going to study, either philosophy or calculus, the only effective way to imprint a concept is to review it first and then try to explain it in your own words. The wrong way is merely reading the material. You will never remember it that way. You need more effort in order to get it into your head. You should know that memorization depends on the available mental energy you have, so never dedicate too much time trying to get something into your head. Step 5. Invest in academic disaster insurance. Most college students have experienced the exam horror story, in which the first question is always easy to solve. You still have plenty of time, and everything is going exactly how you hoped it would. But then you see the one question that you have no idea how it's solved, and that's what they call an academic disaster. A lot of people say that academic disasters are unavoidable, but straight-A students don't believe it. Straight-A students have an insurance policy. Eliminate your question marks. The key to preventing having a blank mind during the exam is to start the process of eliminating question marks way before the exam. As soon as something slips off or you fail to understand, you should ask someone for help. Ask questions during class, ask your professor after class, or you can even ask your classmates. That way, you won't have blank pages or unanswered questions in your exams. Step 6. Provide A+ answers. Finally, it's time to take the test. One of the most common wrong beliefs is that test preparation is what's most important. But truth is, without good test-taking skills, even the most prepared student can ruin an exam. There are many potential pitfalls in exams, like running out of time or providing detailed answers that don't give the right answer. But with the right strategies, we can eliminate all fear and make sure that your grade reflects well on your level of preparation. Strategy number 1. Review first, answer questions later. In other words, read through the entire exam first, then start answering. Reviewing gives you a look on the degree of difficulty that lies ahead of you and makes you think about all questions, even if you're specifically focusing on one. Strategy number 2. Build a time budget. In any exam, you should know how many minutes you are allowed to spend on solving a question. How to do that? Take the time given for the exam and subtract 10 minutes. Then divide the amount by the number of questions. The number of the result is how many minutes you have to spend on each question. We subtracted 10 minutes in the first step to provide a safety buffer just in case. This strategy helps you to avoid time trouble and keeps your attention focused. Strategy number 3. Proceed from easy to hard. Straight A students always start with the questions that are easier to them because it's when your energy is at its peak and it ensures getting maximum points. It might also trigger your memory, helping solve a hard question. Strategy number 4. If you face an essay question, create an outline. Don't start writing and figure things out in the middle because it might lead to missed concepts and rambling answers. Following an outline provides a smooth writing process. Strategy number 5. Always check your work. You may be lucky to have extra time left at the end of the exam. That's when you take the chance to check your work. It will surprise you the number of mistakes that turn up at the end. Double-checking your work up to the last minute can make a huge difference. Part 3. Essays and papers. One of the many unavoidable things in college is paper writing. It requires going through endless sources of information, identifying insights, forming arguments, and translating the results of the research into an organized form. And of course, it requires time, a lot of time. But the good news is, even if it's hard, it doesn't have to be as hard as everyone makes it. The paper writing process can be separated into 3 components: sifting through existing arguments, creating your own argument, and communicating your argument clearly. How do straight A students approach paper writings? They simply separate each of the 3 components into different challenges, and they handle them one by one through an 8-step strategy. However, notice that not all writing assignments are the same. There are research papers and critical analysis essays. A research paper is choosing a topic and doing an original research to support your original thesis. Critical analysis, though, are usually short and only require an analysis of 1 or more of your class reading assignments. That does not mean they are easier than research papers, because there is a certain rule that college writing assignments follow. How precise your thinking during a paper writing is in direct proportion to how specific the assignment is. Step 1. Target a titillating topic. The key to choose a topic is choosing one that excites you, yet is still within the specifications of the assignment. All work you will do on your paper grows from this step. So if it doesn't intrigue you, the writing process will be hellish. The best way to find an interesting topic is to look for one earlier, from the day your professor announces the assignment. What do you do if you're having trouble finding a topic? There are 2 options. You can give a few suggestions or ideas to your professor and let him or her choose one, or you can read your primary sources carefully. Step 2. Conduct a thesis hunting expedition. After you finally found a topic that suits you, it's time to create a thesis that will make the argument a compelling one. It's important that you know that any thesis needs initial exploration. Otherwise, you won't know if your idea is viable in the first place. For a critical analysis essay, your thesis is easy to create. Just review your reading and lecture notes that relate to the essay prompt. For research papers, however, finding a thesis is a more complicated process because the sources aren't pre-selected and there are no specific questions. You only have a general topic, that is all. Straight A students who I interviewed for this book shared with me 2 goals they reached to while conducting a thesis for research papers. 1. Find an interesting thesis which you can support within the scope of the assignment. And 2. Lessen the time required to do this search. The secret to actually reaching the 2 goals is simply starting general, then moving 1 layer deep. A straight A student from Dartmouth named Chris explained how he first goes with the basic sources. For example, if your assignment topic is about the Kurds in Turkey, find a recently published general history about them. Then start examining the list of books and articles cited in your general source. These cited works will be more focused on your topic. Lastly, how do you know you have a good enough thesis? Well, a good thesis must have at least 4 qualities. It should be provoking, nuancing, direct, and inclusive. Always be sure that your thesis is the most important part of the paper. If you have a solid thesis, then everything else will fall into place. Also, be careful of the plot twist. Theses do change and evolve during your writing process. Embrace that change. Step 3. Seek a second opinion. By now, you should have found an interesting topic and conducted a targeted thesis. Now it's time for a step back. It's time to discuss your ideas with your professor. Find them during office hours or make an appointment, discuss your topic and thesis, and then ask them 3 questions. Number 1, is my idea suitable for the assignment? Number 2, is it too much coverage? Number 3, is it too simple? After getting your answers, you'll leave their office enthusiastic and confident in the basis of your paper. Step 4. Research like a machine. Now comes the main part of the research paper, research. For critical analysis essays, you have your sources specified already, but this is crucial for research papers. You must have an organized strategy. Research like a machine is a mechanical process that brings out the highest of quality results. This system works in 4 steps. 1. Find sources. Like we said in step 2, find general sources, then look into specific ones, or search for your specific sources directly. 2. Make personal copies of sources. Make a photocopy of all relevant material you found. This way, your hard copies are going to be easy to carry around. The information will be more accessible, and now you can even organize your sources the way you want them to. 3. Write notes on the material. Review the sources you found and highlight the most important information. This will save you a great amount of time later on. Finally, figure out whether you are done or will you need to go back to number 1. Step 5. Craft a powerful story. Now comes the fun, magical part. It's time to put the pieces of all the information you gathered into a great story. It's time to formulate your argument, where your vision of the overall structure of your paper must be present. Formulation of a solid argument is a solid exercise. It requires critical thinking and creativity. But in general, a good argument should have the following goals accomplished. 1. Drawing from previous work on the same topic, so you can put a definition to the context of your discussion. 2. Introducing a thesis, carefully explaining how it relates to your topic. 3. Supporting the thesis, carefully giving reasons and references to existing arguments, evidence, and primary sources. And 4. Introducing final prognostications about extending the arguments and its provisioning impact on the entire field. The good news is, there is no standard order to the format, so simply just write a lot and read a lot of good arguments. Next on, build an outline so you can capture the argument in a good form. After you build a topic skeleton, start filling in the details. Step 6. Consult your expert panel. You can discuss your ideas with your friends, just like Suzanne, a straight-A student, does. That way, she is more confident with her argument. But it's who you choose as an expert panel that gives you this confidence. You don't have to choose your friends. It can be your professor or your smart friends, but make sure this sort of collaboration is allowed from their part. Step 7. Write without the agony. If you followed the previous steps, then writing an essay will not be as agonizing as most students make it out to be. Just make sure you write in complete isolation so you can completely focus on your words, and make sure you're following the outline. You don't have to rush into the process. Go slowly. That's all. There is no need to fear writing. Follow these steps and there will be no more all-nighters and agonizing feelings. Step 8. Fix, don't fixate. The final step, editing your paper. Editing your paper is important because handing in your paper with spelling mistakes or grammatical mistakes yields disappointment from the professor. So proofread your assignment, but do not over-edit. Give yourself, for every part, a pass after reviewing it. Start with the adjustment of your argument. Read it carefully. Focus on how you presented it. If you find that there are sections that are awkwardly stated, Clear them up. If a section repeats a part you explained earlier, cut it out. If there is a missing transition between two topics or paragraphs, add one. Once you give yourself this pass, the big details are once and for all ready to be handed in. For the next pass, print a copy of your paper, go to a private place, and begin to read your paper out loud. Using a strong voice and a pencil, underline grammatical mistakes or awkward constructions. Then go back to your computer after you're done reading the whole paper and edit your changes. The final pass is the sanity pass, when you read your essay the way you want to and finding absolutely no major mistakes. One final review, and then it's time to hand in your paper. Conclusion. Congrats! You have reached the end of the summary, only to start a new exciting one during your college or school experience. You have made it this far, and since you did, it's important to make sure you have learned the two most important insights. 1. Forcing studying is completely inefficient. And 2. It's not impossible to create new techniques that work for you and requires less time. If you have learned this, then you are ready to score an A in your grades without diminishing your social life, happiness, or health. This generation is easily stressed with the idea that their life path has been forced on them. But by mastering the techniques in this book, you will be in control of the steering wheel. You will prove to everyone that in this adventure, you have discovered areas of knowledge, gave your mental abilities the growth they need, and had fun while doing it all. College does not have to be a dreadful period of your life. It can be part of a beautiful journey. Your call. Did you learn anything new after listening to this summary? Do you think this will help in your own college assignments? Do you feel slightly more excited for your exams now? Let us know in the comments.